Hi, I'm Larry Sparano, and thanks for joining us once again. And with us today is a special guest. He is Rack Attack. You can find him at YouTube, Rack Attack Gamer on YouTube. And Rack Attack, I asked you to join us today because you keep up with conspiracies, real and imagined, on the website. And what's been erupting over the past few days is all this talk about Wayfair, which is an internet furniture company, and supposedly they're being accused of being involved in child sex trafficking. Now, how did all this happen? And is there any credence to it? And again, this is we're just discussing this. We're drawing no conclusions, making no accusations, just discussing what is being discussed on the internet. So, what's going on, and is there any credence to it,
Well,
or any way of finding out?
I'd like to reiterate and say yes, this is just basically opinion and speculation and reverbage of what we find on the internet, stuff like
Right,
that. So
right.
we're not making any statements here. We're just discussing the issue, our opinion, speculation, etc. What took place was yesterday on the Reddit channel, Reddit's YouTube, or I'm sorry, on the Reddit website. Someone speculated that Wayfair, because of high-priced cabinets, uh, and then they later looked into why are these high-priced, and they started using a search engine called Yandex, and they put in the SKUs of products, and they came up with underage girls or whatever else like that, in dressed inappropriately. Not exactly porn, but heading in that direction. So we are talking about child porn. And what they further speculated from that was that the Wayfair company was overpricing these products in order to actually sell these children,
Yeah, for
and that the
instance,
names of the products were somehow connected with the children.
Yeah, for instance, there were cabinets, storage cabinets that would ordinarily sell for like $3,000, $4,000 perhaps at the most, but they were selling for like 20,000 or more, and they seemed to be the same quality, at least from the pictures on the website. And also, there was a pillow, an eider down pillow that was selling for 5 grand. So
Ten
people,
thousand,
10,000 even.
10,000. Well,
So
no, a little bit above 10,000.
So people assume from that how could a pillow cost that much no matter what it's made of? So therefore, it must be a cover for the sale of something else, namely underage girls. Now, I checked out eider now, where it comes from, why it is so expensive. It comes from the eider duck, which is an Arctic duck, and the gathering of its soft down feathers that are unlike any other in quality. Uh, is done in Iceland. It's a protected species. It's done very carefully, prepared very carefully, and the supply and demand. The supply is very limited. They say less than a truckful load, whereas ghost down and other types of down is much more plentiful. That's why eider down is so expensive. The qualities are like superior to all others. Not only does it give warmth and high quality insulation because it's an Arctic duck, but also it keeps its shape so you don't have to constantly fluff up your pillow. Anyway, it seems legitimate, at least in terms of that pillow, the eider down pillow, that price is legitimate. But people talk to these storage cabinets, these lounges, these couches that seem way out of price. Now, the explanation of the company was that they failed to distinguish between the quality of the higher price items. Even though the pictures looked the same, the higher priced items were much more of industrial commercial quality. So some people say that's kind of a suspicious explanation, but this has fueled a lot of this talk as well.
Well, that's what's is going on. I mean, we're discussing here recently, just yesterday, drummed up internet conspiracy theory that seems to be going viral and seems to have a lot of people talking about it.
Right.
Now, we ourselves are not saying that Wayfair is involved in anything, but we are discussing what's going on. I came across this actually much earlier. Not now, Wayfair was involved only from the 10th of July, yesterday, as of this recording, uh, and forward to today, 11th of July. However, I came across similar stuff in mid-June.
Hmm.
June 15th, somebody was posting on Twitter that I came across, and they were talking about Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks likes photography, and he does very strange photography of, say, just random items that he spots while he's walking along the street. These items are usually gloves or single socks or something like that. And he will take a photograph of this one glove, and that's his thing for whatever reason. And he keeps posting these pictures of gloves onto his Twitter account and so forth. Now, the guy that I read from his Twitter account, he said that Tom Hanks not only took the picture of this glove, but within the same frame of that picture, it had the letters SRC, and underneath the SRC, it had USA.
Right.
And he was wondering what that was all about. And somebody from YouTube actually checked out the connection with the SRC and USA, and they did a search on a website from Russia called Yandex. It's a search engine from Russia. And when they did the search and used the SRC USA and whatever else they put in after it, it doesn't matter whatever else you put in after it, as long as you use the SRC as a code, at least they're assuming that, it would come back with underage pictures of girls dressed inappropriately, in suggestive positions, etc. Not necessarily 100% child pornography, but heading definitely in that direction. And so that was somehow connected with Tom Hanks. I'm not saying there is a connection. I'm just saying a connection was made, speculated upon, etc.
Well, actually, concerning Tom Hanks, this kind of plays into all the rumors all these years about the Hollywood stars being connected with child pornography, pedophilia, but also with satanic cults and all that. Now, the significance of that picture, which apparently he actually posted, I guess it's still up on his website, the glove and then the SRC USA, is that people have come out and said, well, for instance, there's a woman, Sarah Ruth Ashcroft, who claimed, and she claims this on video, which you could find on YouTube, that she as a child was sold to Tom Hanks by her father, I guess. And there's another guy claiming that an actor who has since been either committed suicide or, according to some, has been suicided. He claims that Tom Hanks, he did claim that Tom Hanks is indeed a pedophile, and that was Isaac Cappy, who was a minor Hollywood star. And shortly after going on the internet and saying all this about Hanks, and saying that he was worried about somebody doing something, he claimed that he had a safeguard where, what was it, a dead switch where if something happened to him, certain items, information would go out to the world, and therefore people wouldn't dare knock him off. So what was it, just a few days later, he was found dead?
Correct, yes. But let's take this piecemeal. Let's start with Sarah Ruth Ashcraft, I believe the name is.
Yeah.
She could be found on Twitter. That video, it was posted to, I believe, Twitter, not YouTube. Since then, other people have picked it up and put it onto YouTube.
Yeah.
That she has claimed that she was sold to Tom Hanks as a child. Her father sold her to Tom Hanks, and that to be used as a sex slave, I guess. Now, this is a person that is on Twitter, currently still on Twitter, supposedly never been sued, hasn't been brought down or anything else. So she's making the claim that since she hasn't been sued, then what do you take from there? And she's saying, well, obviously it must be true since I'm not being sued. So now whether her claim is true or not, I don't know. We're just talking about what exists out there. And as for Isaac Cappy, he was, like you said, someone who else accused Tom Hanks of being a pedophile on video. I'm not saying Tom Hanks is. I'm just saying what he said, this Isaac Cappy, and that he was concerned maybe for his life and that he had a dead man switch. And yes, He was subsequently killed 3 days after making a video saying he would not commit suicide. He was proclaimed suicided or suicide. He committed suicide supposedly.
Yeah,
And
supposedly he jumped from an overpass onto a highway, and then a truck ran over him.
got hit
Uh,
by a truck. Yes.
yeah, so the official conclusion was that it was suicide.
Official conclusion was suicide, and obviously other people are thinking that he was done in
Yeah.
a suiciding manner. Yeah. So now, where does Wayfair come in? Well, this is now a little bit about a month later almost, and someone made the connection between Wayfair, high-priced cabinets, the cabinet names, and they checked out the names with missing children, and there was a connection between the cabinet names and missing children. None of this stuff can be really found very easily anymore because Wayfair themselves took down these cabinets because they say that they were not a clear description of why they were priced so
Right.
high, so they're going to put them back up. And other people do have screenshots of the cabinet names and stuff like that that can be found in an internet search. But whether or not the cabinets were actually named after
Yeah.
children,
Yeah, well,
that's speculation.
that's a problem because since the site's been taken down, the original advertisements for the cabinets and other items, since they've been taken down, there's no way of verifying whether the screenshots and everything, other claims about the connection there, and what comes up when you typed in those names. There's no way of verifying independently now whether that was actually the case.
No, when I did come across one supposed screenshot, which is probably doctored, which showed a price of some unit of something, and when you took the number, it was a big long number starting with 18.0 whatever, and if you took the number and cut it in half, one would be considered a north latitude and west longitude. So if you split those two, put them into a search engine, it comes to Epstein Island.
Yeah.
And obviously that was, in my opinion, it was just a fake. Somebody made that as a fake.
Yeah.
But see, that's where all this garbage now is out there, where you can't do clean research. All you keep running into is the speculations and maybe even some doctored stuff.
All right, let's talk more about that SRC USA that was found in Tom Hanks' photograph of the glove on the ground, and in other places. Supposedly, it was also on the Wayfair site. Now, that is connected.
No. An SKU, which is a product code.
SRC USA.
Right, but that was in the Tom Hanks picture. SKUs are product codes that are used pretty much universally everywhere. It's just a number that has association with a product. SRC was in Tom Hanks' photograph. Now, all it was a glove and these letters, SRC and USA. No one knows what the SRC is or the USA is. Some people have checked into it and used those letters in conjunction with the Yandex website. And when you use those letters in conjunction with the Yandex website, it seems to return inappropriate childhood pictures from young girls dressed inappropriately and in suggestive situations.
All right, Yandex website, Russian website?
Correct. It's a Russian website. And when I came across it last month on my Twitter, somebody posted this stuff. I said, I looked into it briefly. It's from Russia. I wouldn't look into it anymore because I didn't even return any pictures. All I did was put in the letters CH, and it came up with a whole bunch of suggestions, as a search engine normally does. When you first start to type, it'll come up with suggestions, and they were very inappropriate. So I didn't even go any further. That's where I stopped. I took a screenshot. I said my piece about it, and I said, don't even bother looking into it, because if anything inappropriate should happen to show up on your screen, you're in trouble, me or anybody else that happens to look into it. So I didn't look into it any further.
All right, now Ted Gunderson, the ex-FBI agent's been talking a lot about this stuff. What's he been saying?
Ted Gunderson is now passed on, deceased, and there has been, rumors that he was poisoned to death and so forth and so on. But he is on YouTube. You can look at some of his talks that he gives regarding pedophilia, underage trafficking, and satanic worship.
Hmm.
And these are long speeches. Now, Ted Gunderson is an ex-FBI agent. He spent many years in the FBI. He was a field agent, or he was some big wig in the FBI. And this warning from Ted Gunderson was approximately 15 years ago, roughly. And so therefore, before 15 years ago is when he was actually running into this stuff. So this goes back for maybe 20, 25, 30
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
So he was one of the first throwing out a warning of a worldwide pedophile type network, which has a lot of heavy influences in satanic rituals and stuff like that. Now, he's not the only one, just like you said, that Isaac Cappy complained that he stated that Tom Hanks was a pedophile. Now, I'm not saying Tom Hanks was. I'm saying Isaac Cappy said so. But other people in Hollywood have also come out recently and said that Hollywood is just filled with pedophiles, and it seems to be like one of their biggest stock and trade secrets of Hollywood. It's just filled with pedophiles.
Yeah. Now, also getting back to Wayfair. Now, what's come up recently on the internet is a picture of a guy who internet people have identified as a Bill Hutcherson, who's supposedly the operation manager or the chief of operations of Wayfair. A picture of him with Giselle Maxwell, and supposedly now they're extrapolating from that that ties in the relationship even more firmly between pedophilia, which we know Jeffrey Epstein was involved in, and allegedly Ghislaine Maxwell, who was his alleged procurer. So we know they're making a tie in there too, since the two of them were together. If indeed Bill Hutchinson exists, and if indeed he has anything to do with Wayfair, then
Well, before doing this video, I mean, me and you did a little bit of research. We tried to. The basically the market, if you want to call it that, the market is flooded now with all this speculation. So it's hard to come up with anything solid. But this Bill Hutcherson, I cannot find any connection with him in regards to Wayfair. Just can't find it. He's definitely not the CEO. The CEO comes under another name, which I know you have written down.
yeah, the
What is
CEO, the CEO, and one of the co-founders is listed as Niraj Shah.
Right. So it has nothing to do with this Bill Hutcherson. So this Bill
Yeah,
Hutcherson, as far as I can tell, is only mentioned in one or two articles regarding the subject.
yeah.
But
Also
as
now,
far as actual connection with Wayfair, I can't find it. Now, he might be, but I can't find it.
what there does appear to be a connection with Wayfair is again the infamous George Soros. Supposedly he has what 10.5 million shares in Wayfair. We researched it from files, official files, filings, and it appears that he does have a lot of shares involved in Wayfair. So people are making a lot of assumptions about that too, because as we all know, Soros has been increasingly and consistently accused of being involved in all kinds of efforts to bring down America and funding all kinds of radical organizations. That's what he's been accused of. So there's another tie-in supposedly with Wayfair. So this thing just keeps feeding on itself. And what we're trying to do is sort this out and see, what may be worth pursuing and what could be dismissed easily. But it's such a muddle, which is the way these things develop, especially through the
Well,
internet.
if you go back a couple of years to the Pizzagate thing,
Yeah.
the Pizzagate was also very similar to something like this, where individual people off the internet started to do research on their own,
Yeah.
using all sorts of things, including satellite maps of the area and so forth. But I think this Wayfair thing is taking off very quickly. If I had to say, if in my own opinion, since we're stating opinions and speculations in this video, that this Wayfair thing might have taken off a little bit too much, too quick, and now it's got a life of its own, which doesn't really represent what's going on behind the scenes. However, the Pizzagate thing seems a little bit more solid, since it comes out with WikiLeaks emails, wherever they got the emails from Podesta and Clinton and so forth, which does seem to have weird code words in it from FBI. FBI has come out with a pamphlet or a release
Yeah.
saying that there's certain symbols connected with pedophilia, and there's certain code words connected with pedophilia, and some of these words were used in those past emails from that WikiLeaks source.
Quick review of what Pizzagate was.
Well, again, it goes back to where right now, as it stands, if you talk to anybody in the mainstream, they'll say that Pizzagate was false, inaccurate, incorrect, wrong, bad, everything. But there are people that have looked into it in the past that seem to have made some weird connections. And we're only speculating, but that the connections seem to point towards a pizza place being involved with pedophilia type stuff. Now that has been disproven supposedly, but there's some people that still hold to that view. It was in Washington D.C.
Washington, and
Yes.
It was a front for distributing, arranging, procuring child.
And that Hillary Clinton and John Podesta had some sort of a hand in it. Yes.
Yeah.
Those emails do have some very strange writing within them. We're talking about emails from John Podesta regarding they're talking about pizza and cheese and handkerchiefs and all this other stuff, which have been noted by the FBI to be code words. Now, whether they're actually being used that way or not, that's for a different. That's for someone to make up their own mind about.
Yeah, you know what occurs to me, Rock, is one of the reasons why these things take on a life of their own, unsubstantiated on the internet, is because nobody trusts any more mainstream media investigative reporting. It all seems to have some slant, some agenda behind it, very little objectivity. So people say, well, you don't get the real story from the mainstream media. And, the suspicion about that, some of it is with very good reason, because, a lot of what passes for reporting today is really agenda-driven opinion and propaganda. So therefore, people are turning more and more to the internet, either for good reasons or bad, and these things become viral on the internet. And before you know it, it's so confusing. There's so much information out there, it's hard to determine what's verifiable and what isn't.
It seems to be pushing an agenda. Or in regards to Pizzagate, the false rumors of Pizzagate.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't just state facts; they state opinion right in their titles and in their stories.
And everything is labeled immediately a conspiracy theory if it doesn't go along with the whatever agenda that they're pushing.
Right, and if you look it up, CIA back in the 60s, who didn't like people looking into the JFK assassination, pushed the terminology, the phrase conspiracy theory, conspiracy theorist, as they demonized the word. They demonized it, and they put it towards people that looked into this stuff so that they would be ridiculed and people would stop looking into it.
Yeah.
And there's FOIA documents that show this, that was pushed that way.
So before we wrap it up for this episode, where does this leave us, and where is it going? It appears that there's going to be a constant growth of all kinds of speculation, accusations, and assumptions involving Wayfair and everything else it's related to. I don't see any of this being tampered down anytime soon. Especially now with the arrest of Ghislaine Maxwell, which brings up the whole, in the spotlight again, pedophilia and the big network that she and Epstein were allegedly involved in, with big name people from.
The way Maxwell is connected to this whole thing with the Wayfair is that people have assumed that since she was taken into custody, she started talking, and that's how this Wayfair thing was exposed.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that that's true, but that's what the speculation is.
Yeah.
This goes beyond Wayfair also. I mean, supposedly Amazon and eBay have things that are overpriced, that have names connected with children that have been missing and so forth like that. Now, The way I can see things going, as far as this Wayfair thing goes, it's gotten way out of hand, way too quickly. And now, if you try to investigate it, all you're doing is seeing all the rumors. It's hard to investigate now.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it can be investigated now. All you're getting is all the speculation.
Yeah.
That's the predominant thing on searches now. And this is only one day later. Pizzagate, in my opinion, had a little bit more validity as opposed to this Wayfair thing now.
Well, we'll have to see where it goes from here. I think we know that it's not going to be tamped down anytime soon. So we'll
To
probably
be clear, Wayfair has already come out and stated they have nothing to do with any
right.
child trafficking and so forth.
And of course, most of these people that have a different opinion, do not believe a word of that. So, again, it continues. So we'll be also continuing again, and thanks once again for being with us, Rack Attack. You can find them on YouTube, Rack Attack Gamer on YouTube. Thanks for being with us.